Thank you so much. Please sit down. It's embarrassing. Thank you for being here. My goodness, quite a crowd. So, you know, in this time I have with you, the opening, like, how do you introduce yourself and what do you say? It's always a question. So, this area has a special meaning to me. My wife comes from this area, comes from Lebanon. Well, we're all from Lebanon. And in fact, we got married in Lebanon. Isn't that something? The family, my wife's family, has a farm here, upstate a little, and the whole idea was to get married here at the farm and have some. And we actually asked Marion and Williamson to officiate, and then she called at the last moment and said, "I've got something wrong with my throat and I can't," and it was kind of a mess. And then the mess was compounded by the fact the press here found out that I was getting married. So some of these people in the press are very aggressive. No, they jumped through windows. They came through the windows in the farmhouse, and the mother and father, my mother-in-law and father-in-law, what they were frightened. Oh my God, the press found out. We better do something about that. Let's go to her sister's house. So everybody went, and we hadn't arrived yet. So everybody went to the sister's house. It was about 15 miles east, still in the state, and they were waiting there, and the press found out about that. So we went somewhere else, and we were dodging the cars. When we first decided to get married and take out a marriage license, we went to whatever the town was, probably Lebanon, and went to the courthouse and walked up the stairs and went into whatever the room is where you sign up to be married. And the lady behind the desk said, "Oh, Shatner, oh really?" And we signed the documents, and now we were ready. We came down the stairs, and we saw the lady clerk run down the stairs past us. I wonder where she's going. And the courtroom is in the center of the town square, and the square has all shops. So we thought, well, you know, we've signed up to get married. Let's take a look at the shops before we drive off. So we went around looking at the shops. So it took about, 10 minutes to get there? When we got there, my phone rang. And it was my agent in Los Angeles saying, I heard you just signed up to get married. How did you hear that? Oh, it's all over the news. This lady. So that was our introduction to getting married in where am I? Indiana. So that's why I have a close relationship with Indianapolis and Indiana, and you know, I've done the whole thing with the fast cars and the alley. In fact, my wife's sister was married to a gentleman who had a shop. He had a huge machine that bent metal so that he would do classic cars, bend metal and repair classic cars in, what's the alley name?
Gasoline Alley.
Gasoline Alley. So in Gasoline Alley, which has got several shops in it, take care of the cars, he had a shop. So like, I'm involved in Indiana and in Indianapolis. It's been quite an experience. So I thought, I wonder what you guys would like to hear about. I was recently came back from the Antarctic. I did a walk. And somebody went, wow, Antarctic, wow. I don't know who did that. Who did what? I wonder what the wow. You did wow. What's the wow about? Right into the microphone.
I just find Antarctica cool.
You find Antarctica cool? It's not only cool, it's cold. So we went to the Antarctic. I went, the producer said, we're going to go to the Antarctic. If you'd like to come and entertain us, you can come and we'll pay you. I said, well, I'll come, but I got to bring my family. Now, I have 15 members, immediate members of my family. And they're like, I'm close. So we're closely knit family. So I said, well, what you got to do is pay me this and take my family. He said, oh my God, okay. Because the cabins were worth a great deal of money. And I wanted 7 cabins. So, okay, 7 cabins. So got my whole family. And with the whole family, minus 2 or 3 people who couldn't go, went. And we had an incredible adventure. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, yes? Neil was on board. And I have done his show a couple of times. And on board, we kind of did our own shows, our own things, but we got together a few times. And like I had with him on his podcast, I'd argue with him. Neil, come on, all these measurements you make and all this knowledge, and this that exploded and it became this, and then there was that. Come on, Neil, you don't really know. He said, we know. I said, but the speed of light, it's your measuring. Speed of light is exactly, it's a speed of light. Then it goes, whatever it is, 100,000 miles. That's a split second. I said, you don't know that. You've got black matter and dark energy in the way. 90% of the universe is dark. And how can you measure something when you don't know what it is and it's interfering? The universe is expanding instead of contracting, and you don't know anything. No, Bill, I would know. It's just speed of light. So I'm kidding him in half. And so on board ship, I was doing the same thing. And after one of the sessions on stage, somebody in the audience came up to me and says, I'm Joe Blow, and I'm an astrophysicist and he named the school. And he said, you're right. It's possible that the speed of light with which all measurements in space are made, like how fast does light travel, and now you know how far those distant star bodies are. And if you suspect that it's 1 mile difference, given the furthest the furthest galaxy that we know of is 13.8 billion light years away. So that means as quickly as a photon of light could travel, and I'm not quite sure of the measurement. Does anybody know the exact measurement of light, the photon? It's hundreds of thousands of miles a second, okay? So if you're off just by a little, if you say it's 500 million miles a second, if you're off by 10 miles and you go 13.8 billion, I mean, that's a lot of mileage, you're off. You gotta be exact. And we got this force that we don't know what it is. Black matter, black energy. We don't know what it is. But we know that the universe is expanding and it should be contracting based on the laws of gravity, which we don't know how that works either. So I'm saying, well, you don't know anything. So, all in fun because he knows a great deal. So when I came back from Antarctica, I had done a lot of reading about the 3 explorers that traveled, explored, tried to find the South Pole. there were three guys, Scott, Amundsen, and come on, the guy with his ship got locked in the Shackleton, Scott, and Amundsen were three well-known explorers who tried, and in two cases failed, to get to the South Pole. And when I came home, I was struck by the thought of, why do we explore? I mean, it's dangerous. The South Pole is 5 miles, 3 miles, somewhere, deep of snow and ice. It's a desert. It snows very irregularly there. But over the tens of thousands of years that the South Pole has been cold. It was once very hot, you know. It was once a tropical paradise. And in fact, they've discovered lakes and mountains. It's a whole continent there. And they found these lakes, and they sent a probe down into the lake, and they discovered bacteria that doesn't exist anywhere else on Earth. It's like another life form down below. So it's a cold, hostile, mysterious place. Why would you want to go there? Why would somebody want to say, hey, you know, I stood on the South Pole. So what? It's not even as dramatic as climbing Mount Everest. I stood on Mount Everest. Why would you want to stand on Mount Everest? Because if you've seen pictures, you get to Mount Everest, and you know what you see? More peaks. Peak over here. Climb me! You know, I mean, what's the point, you'd think, of traveling in that cold desert and dying? Why? Why explore? Which struck me as, why go to Mars? Why? It's arid. There's maybe some water, that may not be. The gravity's 1/3. There's no air. The sun burns you. There's no radiation shield. You're gonna die. None of that. You can die there. You're gonna die on the way there. Or if you don't die on the way there, you haven't died being there, you're going to die on the way back. Why do you want to go? Why do you want to explore? What is exploration to mankind? That's what struck me. So I began to delve into these guys' background. And in our own background, mankind's background. So there we are, little hominids in Africa. And then one day, I'm going to go explore. Then his mother says, wait a minute, where are you going? Have you seen the picture of one of the apes, and the baby starts to go off, and the ape goes, grabs him by the tail? That's what I think. The baby says, I'm going to go explore. The mother says, no, you're not. You're staying right here in Africa where it's warm and pleasant and nice and safe. You're not. Why does mankind want to explore? What is there in exploration? So I began to write about it. Like, why? What is the impulse? What is the curiosity? Of course, when you think about it, the curiosity. So there we were, well over 1 million years ago in a tree, and somebody said, I'm going to go down there and walk around. And they did. And they found things that made them better, increased the size of their brain. Curiosity. Wow. It's part of mankind, it's part of humanity. So I began to think about all this. And I started to write a talk about that. I could speak for, I've already spoken about 10 minutes already. I could do another 20, 30, 40 minutes and have a speech. I've forgotten now how I got in touch with Neil deGrasse Tyson. But I said, Neil, what if we did a show involving science with you and whatever it is you want to call with me, humanity with me on stage. So we're putting together a stage show. Our first attempt will be outside of Seattle in June. He and I on stage talking about exactly this. Why, what, where, how, and I would take the more humanity side. And then the more I thought, but it still is to show what's it about, what's it about. And I began to think about that and lay awake at night thinking, God, there's no, I have it. I have the idea of the show. The show is about us, a adventure, a exploration of spirituality. Why do they climb to the top of the mountain? Why do they go to the South Pole? It's in search of themselves. They're looking for something inside them. Nobody's done it before. I'll do it. But what do I accomplish by what? Shackleton, famous explorer, English explorer in the beginning of 1900s. England had conquered the world. In the 19th century, England had I don't know what you'd say, explored, subdued India, Canada, Australia, all the colonies. I mean, it was the huge empire at the 19th. This little island of 60 million people had in charge of the world. And Shackleton was an Englishman, had failed at everything. Everything he tried, he failed at. He tried so many things. English, very well-educated, distinguished Englishman, had failed. And somehow, he raised the money to buy a three-masted sailing ship. And prior to that, he had failed on his first voyage to the South Pole. Now he's trying his second voyage. And he fills his ship with 28 men, where he handpicks great photographer, great navigator, great people who are at the top of their field. Come with me, we're going to explore, we're going to go. And he fills his people with the best, sails to the South Pole, sails to the Antarctic, and gets locked into sea ice that had formed because it suddenly turned cold. His ship was embedded in the sea ice, couldn't get anywhere near land for 2 years in ice. And then the ice began to break his ship up. He had failed again. And then the adventure continues. So Neil deGrasse Tyson and I are going to do a show about exploration. And I said, but it's exploration in other fields. It's exploration in medicine. I mean, when we were on the savannas, somehow some of the people plucked a blossom or a weed, and that works. I feel better now. It's curing me. And this medicine, home medicine, began to evolve. They didn't have any microscopes. They tasted it, they died because it was poison. Don't touch that. Or they picked out, I feel better. And it had a little of what the help. Acetaminophen. What is it?
Acetaminophen?
Yes, say it again.
Acetaminophen.
Well, the qualities that the brush, the tree has, makes aspirin. And these people found, why would they eat the bark of a tree? I don't know, and try the bark of the tree and see if that cures your headache. I mean, that doesn't make sense. But somehow, native medicine began. So the exploration of medicine. I mean, there were people in medicine who injected themselves because they didn't want to challenge, they want to make somebody else, allow somebody else to die. They didn't want to jeopardize somebody else. So they jeopardize themselves in their exploration of medicine. Science, the exploration of science. Nobody knew anything about science, and then along came the ancients, and then the Greeks, and then Aristotle, and slowly a volume of information became available as mankind explored medicine. Exploration of the stars. Let's go to the moon. Why do you want to go to the moon? Go to the moon. Exploration. Go to Mars. Who wants to be the first one to set foot on Mars? I'll go. I won't go, but I'll go, says a large group of adventurous people. Why? Why do you want to climb Mount Everest? They climbed Mount Everest in the same clothes that the English guys, Scott and Chaplin, wore. Wool. Oh, wool. Good. English wool will protect us. Amundsen, the Norwegian, went to the North Pole, lived among the Inuit, and discovered, oh, wait a minute, you wear the skins of the animals that live up there and survive under those harsh conditions. Oh, you use dogs to pull the snow. Oh, you eat the fat of the blubber to have the calories stay warm. Oh, said Amundsen, I'll do that in the South Pole. And of course, of the three men, he was the only one who made it because he did his research properly. But the whole idea of mankind exploring, and that's really science fiction as well, isn't it? Writers write what's in their imagination far beyond their or our ability to do the things that are called for in the writing in science fiction, but it tickles our imagination. Wow. Imagine having a sailing ship. The sail catches cosmic rays, and you sail that ship without using any other power than sailing like the wind. Not only is that theoretically possible, it's possible. It's going to happen. How on Earth did our scientists today know about Lagrange? Lagrange. Anybody else know about Lagrange? Jack? Perfect. 4 people. And 5. Because I did that show in which I had to kayak ultimately down the number 5 rapids. That's the highest designation you can get in rapids. But I didn't know how to kayak, so they started to teach me. It was for a show. And they taught me that on a wild river, the current going this way, on the sides are counter currents, that the current in friction and the current goes slightly upstream. And that's how Native Americans would paddle upstream on a swift river. They would stick to the side and they would get some propulsion, less force pushing them that way as against going down. Well, they discovered that works in gravitational forces as well. There are eddies of gravitation. Some are stronger here and some are less there. And they discovered that there are areas, which they call, for some reason maybe somebody knows, the Lagrange areas, where the force of gravity is less. And that's where they park the Webb telescope. So the Webb telescope sits on the Lagrange. Holy cats, how would they know that? How do you measure gravitational forces? Oh, we could do the descent of the Webb and the thing, it's 1 million miles, and then, can you imagine? It's exploration, the beauty, the grandeur of our desire to know more, our curiosity. That's what I want to talk about. And the third subject I want to examine is the exploration spiritually. Where did we go? We humans from the very beginning saw that there was something larger than the apple that they ate or the pool that they drank water of. They looked up and they had all kinds of explanations for the stars. None of it involved space. It was a blanket, light shot through it. But they had all kinds of explanations, but didn't know exactly what the stars were. Primitive man. But then they began to invent instruments to look further. Galileo, looking into the sky, discovered, and when his discoveries, he was locked in his room, in his house. He couldn't come out because he was going against the grandeur of God, and it's not. It's just making it larger. My God, look at that! It's huge. It goes. That was the discovery of science as it went further and further. So that's my thought of an evening with Neil deGrasse Tyson and myself. So the first evening will be near Seattle, or in Seattle, I think, in middle of June. And then we apparently got 2 theaters in Los Angeles a little later on. But interesting idea, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you. You're all invited to Seattle. So when I came out here just now, I was thinking, I don't know what to do. Should I get questions, which are fun? You know, have people ask me questions and I'll try and answer. Or should I talk a little about this? And I thought, maybe I'll do both.
Oh.
You got a question? Where's the microphone? There's a... Why? Oh, you're lined up there, but you run over there.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems somewhat inefficient. But we can do that. What's your... Now, right into the microphone.
Hi. So, I guess I more just want to say thank you for coming. And thank you for, giving us something in the show that we could all kind of have forever. And also just you as a person. You're really cool. And I've seen you twice now. And, I really like how you have a thought that you don't ignore it. Just be like, okay, that's fine. Like you fully research it, and you've given the fans so much, and just thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for coming here again. It's been making it to you. It's so nice to have you.
Do you have a question?
Well, I do have a question I ask every celebrity I see, but
You ask everybody you see? Like how are you? How are you? I ask everybody that question.
It's not
And
very...
then they tell me and I don't want to hear. How are you? I'm so sick.
Exactly. Well, it's not very philosophical for this, but I ask everybody what their favorite sandwich is.
What's their current one?
Favorite sandwich is?
But my favorite sandwich?
Yeah.
You're kidding. I gotta tell you, I've been doing this for a while, I'm in front of an audience. I love the people, and people are affectionate towards me, and we have a grand time. I'm doing it quite a while, and I asked, this is the first time I've ever been asked my favorite sandwich. So, you have to analyze it. Are you hungry? Because, a bagel with a little smear of cheese, it's delicious. On the other hand, you get the big sandwich. I love to watch these programs where the guy eats as much as he can. What's the name of that thing? He's a redhead and he's quite bulky and it's disgusting. I don't know why I watch it. Because he's eating and he's given like a half an hour. So for the first 20 minutes, you can imagine. All right, cut, that's it, great man. And he runs up to the toilet and vomits. I wonder if they would take pictures of that. Mankind, it's mankind against food and mankind. And he wins, he eats that much of a sandwich. And he's red. He's a redhead, so he's red anyway. Now he's purple because he's stuffed with food. It's his favorite sandwich. And he's done it. He's eaten the potatoes and he's eaten the coleslaw that goes with it. Cut! Thank you. And he runs to the men's room and out. Oh, it's just horrible. So entertaining. My favorite sandwich. You know, I imagine everybody's taste changes, even from hour to hour. Like, what do you feel like eating? Do you want a big steak? No, that's too good. You want a little piece of fish? No. Do you want an exotic cheese with a little bagel? That sounds very interesting. On the other hand, one day, you want a little cheese with a bit? No! I want a steak and a sandwich. So it depends. Ask me tomorrow, I'll have a different answer. I'll see you at
Slippery Row?
Right, where they're playing the game tomorrow at 4. I'll meet you there and I'll tell you how I feel.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Loved you.
Right into the mic.
Okay. Loved you in a lot of your work. Of course, Star Trek, Boston Legal. Loved to watch the reruns of that. But one of our most favorite things that we have watched of you, which we found just so much fun, is Better Late Than Never.
That was so much fun.
Yeah. So my question is, how much fun was it to work alongside and travel with Henry Winkler and of course Terry Bradshaw? Was it as really? Did you have as much fun as it appeared? And of course the episode when you guys were in Japan, I think it was just so much fun. So it was.
It's fun. It's joyful. I mean, I've made great friends with Henry and the others are out of town, and I don't really see them until they come down. But Henry and I have really become good friends. It was a magical time. You know, being here, being in, as I say, being in the city is joyful for me. I really, Indianapolis is terrific. I really love fast cars, and it's my some of the relatives that I have here in town and farm is great. But I won't even say the name of the hotel that I was in last night. But the bed was like that. And the pillow was like that. I checked with a couple of my friends who were here. I said, was it the worst bed or the worst pillow you've ever? I can't move my neck. So, Brett, it was the worst bed. It was like torture. I thought, I'm never going to be able to sleep after a whole day. I got to appear in front of them. I'm never going to sleep. I'm not going to. It was like torture because it was a foreign bed. Okay? I don't know why they would have that bed, but and nobody would sleep in it. But it was awful. The beds around the world are worse. I mean, Thailand. I was like a rope mattress. So it's difficult. And not only that, the food is prepared differently. Sometimes it's better, and sometimes it's not as good. So you can't sleep, you can't eat. And you got to get on an airplane. You got to go, you got to drive. That's awful. But then, George Foreman and I get in the ring, and I box George Foreman, and he hits me and knocks me out.
Oh no.
So much fun. And then, perhaps the crowning moment on that show, Better Late Than Never, was my quarterback.
Terry Bradshaw.
Terry is a hoot. Terry is, I guess, 60 or more years old now, but he still behaves like a jock.
Child.
He's a child now. No, he's a man-child. No, he's a child man. And he's a hoot. He's funny, and he hurts a lot. His back is out. Time and time again in a hotel lobby, I'd have him by the feet and try to stretch his back. It was kind of people would stand around, like by the, in a big circle as I was stretching his back out. So we're in Scandinavia, in what's the capital of Sweden? Stockholm. No. Stockholm? Okay, we're in Stockholm. And talk about eating. The choice of bon vivants in Stockholm is moldy fishes, rancid fish. And it's a delicacy. And they can it. And the cans, as anybody who eats canned food, knows if it's bad, the can swells because there's gases. Yeah. And then eventually the can explodes. Well, they can this rancid fish, and it swells. So as part of the entertainment, the producer said, guys, we're going to eat the rancid fish. and quarterback, Terry, God, love it. That's what happens when you have a bad back. When you have a bad bed, you forget Terry Bradshaw. So Terry Bradshaw has been brought up on the best foodies, an elite athlete. He's got 4 Super Bowl rings. Terry Bradshaw has. I mean, he's a giant. He's a man above. He's an elite human being, physically, mentally. He's wonderful. So we sit around a table and they outside, and they've got 5 cameras on us. So there's a camera here, the edge of this camera. The edge of this camera is catching the edge of this camera. Okay, and this camera is taking, say, Terry over here, and this is on me. So we decide to open the can, and the can's open, and it explodes over everything. All those fishes over everything. And this cameraman here turns this way, and we catch him on this camera, and he projectile vomits over the scent, over the smell of the decaying fish. I pick up a piece of the decaying fish, and I look at Terry. Terry looks at me, and he knows what I'm going to do. And he gets up and starts to run. And I run after this major athlete who's now 60 years old, and his knees have given up on him. And as I get closer to him, he cuts to the left, comes out of his shoes, falls to the ground. I jump on him and spread the fish all over his head. And he now says out loud, the worst thing that has ever happened to him is Shatner running him down. I had the best time with those guys.
Is there any chance you'd do
Well, wait a minute. Are you asking another question?
Is there a chance you'd ever do the...
Wait a minute, start again.
Is there a chance you'd ever do another season of that show?
They had to carry about 100 people.
Oh, okay.
And so after the end of the second season, I don't know, maybe based on ratings or so, they decided they couldn't do it anymore. Besides which, we've all gotten, another 10 years older, and I don't know that we could make it anymore. I'm having difficulty getting up on the stage or remembering Terry Bradshaw's name.
Thank you very much.
Question. Okay, good.
Mr. Shatner, it's an absolute honor to get to speak with
Is it
you.
really? What does that mean?
Well, my parents went to Star Trek the Motion Picture that evening. 9 months later, I was born.
Start again. Your parents took you?
No. When they saw Star Trek the Motion
When your
Picture
parents saw
that night,
the movie.
was when I was created. Thank you so much for that. True story, everybody.
You hear that back there? You hear what he said?
Now, Mom took me to Star Trek
So in a
2.
moment of ecstasy, you were created because
That night.
I was on screen.
Or Leonard. No, we don't know.
So I can't give you any money.
That's okay.
That's okay. You're doing well?
I'm in the working class. I do what I
Are you
can.
doing well? What do you do?
I'm a college administrator. I run maintenance and
Have you
cleaning
cut
crew.
yet?
I'm sorry?
Have you been eliminated? Has your position been eliminated?
Oh, well, if the buildings and the toilets aren't clean, the students don't really want to go to school.
So you've got a college education.
Yes, sir.
And you got a successful job. Are you married?
Not yet. Can you marry people? My girlfriend's in the audience.
What does not yet mean?
Well, we're
Wait
planning
a
a
minute.
trip to Rome soon. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Captain Kirk.
Oh, Lordy.
Is your beloved here? Is that the hesitation?
Can we use your ring?
What? Give me a ring? No, don't bring me. Ring her.
No, I know. Can we use your ring? We'll do it right here.
What's he saying?
He wants to use your ring to marry his girlfriend.
Wants me to marry your girlfriend. What does she look like?
Becky, stand up. She's over there.
He wants you to appreciate it.
Oh, hell, I'll marry you. So wait a minute. Your hesitation is because you don't know whether to get married or when to get married.
Oh, wow.
You want to me.
I may have a heart attack.
Listen to me.
I will. Give me some advice. I'll take some
You'll
advice.
never take a chance.
Okay.
There's nothing like
Okay.
taking a chance and then
Okay.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Oh, wow.
Pleasure to be with you. For William Shatner. One more time, guys. A massive round of applause for William Shatner.
I still have not asked him a question.